Yo, what's up, guys? It's the MMA Analyst here to give you my predictions for UFC on Fox, Shogun versus Vera. Alright, so y'all know I'm a big Shogun fan. But how is Dana White saying that the winner of this fight could get a title shot? The winner of this fight could get a title shot. Now I'm thinking to myself, maybe I missed a couple Shogun fights. So I take a look. He just lost to Dan Henderson. So you're going to lose to Dan Henderson and then maybe beat Brandon Vera to get a title shot? Your win before that was a win over Forrest Griffin. So you lose to John Jones. Then you beat Forrest Griffin, which you should have already. Thank God you beat him this time. Then you lose to Dan Henderson. Crazy battle. Or war, fight. Okay, so then what about Brandon Vera? Brandon Vera, basically lost 3 times in a row. Came back, beat Elliot Marshall. And then maybe he beat Shogun. And Brandon Vera gets a title shot? I guess Dana also recently mentioned that the winner of Machida versus Bader could also get the title shot. Is the UFC light heavyweight division that whack? Machida just coming off of a John Jones loss. Then he beats Ryan Bader, which he will, and gets a title shot again. I don't want to see that either. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying that these guys should definitely not get it. Now, maybe Ryan Bader. Maybe. Which, that's a joke. Because A, he already lost to John Jones. B, but if he somehow beats Machida, at least he'll be on a 3-fight winning streak with 2 of those wins being over former light heavyweight champions. So I guess that's how, he's the only one that really deserves it. That's crazy. Let's get right down to it. Shogun versus Brandon Vera. All right, so it goes like this. Brandon Vera, he's got nothing on Shogun. The only way Brandon Vera wins this fight is if Shogun is in Forrest Griffin first fight shape. Maybe he's injured. I don't know. He got no cardio. He gasses without actually hitting Brandon Vera. I just don't see a way Brandon Vera wins. If the fight goes to the ground, Shogun's going to win that fight on the ground. If Shogun takes the fight to the ground and ends up on top for whatever reason, well, Brandon Vera is going to get destroyed. If the fight stays on the feet, Brandon Vera will get destroyed. The only way I see Brandon Vera winning this is if Shogun is completely out of shape, he looks terrible, goes out there and just kind of, lays a goose egg, and Brandon Vera takes advantage of a non-motivated, whatever the situation is, Shogun. Shogun's better in every aspect of mixed martial arts. And yeah, it is what it is. So I'm not really even sure what to say here other than I hope Shogun has trained properly for this fight. Because if he has, he should have a simple win on his hands. And it'd also be a nice, what's the word? It'd just be nice for him to get a win. It'll be a highlight reel win. It'll be another knockout for his highlight reel. And yeah, also it'll be according to plan since he didn't want that fight with Glover Teixeira, Teixeira, which makes sense. Anyways, so Shogun. I guess this is all they could put together. I can't hate on it. It should be a good fight for as long as it lasts. Lyoto Machida versus Ryan Bader. All right, look, this is one of the most talented fighters at the light heavyweight division versus somebody I consider to be one of the most overrated people at the light heavyweight division. However, in all of my, bad talking about Ryan Bader, the fact still remains he has win over Quentin Rampage Jackson. He has a win over Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Back in the day, he's, when he first got into the UFC, he got a win over Keith Jardine. He lost to only John Jones, and some would say a fluke loss to Tito. Others would say a loss is a loss. At the end of the day, he's 14 wins and 2 losses. And, it is what it is. However, in this fight, you've got Ryan Bader, whose wrestling is useless against anybody with solid defensive wrestling. That's Lyoto Machida. His striking is useless against anybody who can strike. Well, that's Lyoto Machida. And his cardio and whatnot is even suspect, I think, if he gets pushed. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about him getting pushed. I think the only thing he'll get pushed is fists and feet pushed in his face. I see Lyoto Machida doing whatever he wants and not getting hit. And that's it. Just, he's not going to get touched. I see him, pitching a shutout. Just get in there, whoop, whoop, swoop, swoop. Don't get hit, dance around, move around, evade, all that stuff. And then probably win on decision. Or if Machida wants, he can knock out Ryan Bader. But yeah, this fight stays on the feet and Machida doesn't get hit. It's going to be crazy. Ryan Bader is going to be throwing these fastball, pitch-looking overhand rights, haymakers all day, and Machida is just be getting his Karate Kid on. So I see that. I see it's pretty simple there. Lyoto Machida with the win. I'm going to go with, Shogun winning a first-round TKO KO and Machida with a second-round TKO KO. All right, next, Joe Lauzon versus Jamie Varner. It's tough. Jamie Varner's, given a lot of reason for people to take him serious at this point, coming off of that ridiculous win over Edson Barbosa. Joe Lauzon, we know he's solid for a good round at all times, and then he starts to fade away after the first round. So it's a tough one to pick. At the end of the day, I got to go with Joe Lauzon. I mean, he's got solid jiu-jitsu. Jamie Varner, he's got, a solid grappling game in general. Both these guys been around for a while. Stand-up advantage, probably go to Jamie Varner. Joe Lauzon does like to strike, but he basically uses his striking to get the fight, hurt his opponent, get him to the ground, submit him. You know how it is. So on the feet, if it stays on the feet, Varner could potentially have the advantage, but at the same time, Joe Lauzon is good with his range. I see him, hurting Varner, getting the fight to the ground and locking up what will probably be submission of the night. So I am taking Joe Lauzon to finish Varner before the end of the first round. So if that's true, we could have 3 first-round finishes in the main card. Then Mike Swick versus DeMarcus Johnson. Mike Swick's been hurt for a while, gone for a while, hasn't fought in over 2 years, 2.5 years basically, coming off of 2 losses. He was injured, not looking good. Lucky for him, though, he's fighting DeMarcus Johnson, who pretty much isn't that good at much. Blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling isn't great, striking isn't great. Coming off a loss to John McGuire, he beat Clay Harbison, lost to Amir Sadala, beat Mike Guyman, lost to Matt Riddle. I mean, I don't see him posing much of a threat for Mike Swick. The only issue is Mike Swick is coming off, again, 2.5-year layoff, and he's not like he was just sitting around having fun. He was injured. So, yeah, I am going to go with Mike Swick because Mike Swick has solid hands. I don't think DeMarcus Johnson is going to be able to get the fight to the ground if he wants. I think it stays on the feet. And I think, with injuries, past layoff, ring rust and all, I still think Mike Swick can knock out DeMarcus Johnson, and that's what I think will happen. I'm going to pick Mike Swick to have a TKO/KO over DeMarcus Johnson. Also, in the first round. So I think this is the first time I've ever picked 4 first-round TKOs, KOs. It's very unlikely for it to happen. Machida versus Ryan Bader could very well be a 3-round decision. It probably makes sense that is that. But it could also be a finish in the second round. To be honest, I might have even said Machida, Ryan Bader in the second round. But regardless, I think it's going to be all 4 finishes for the main card. I've got Nam Fan over Cole Miller in the undercard. Phil Davis, I'm taking him. Josh Grisby, Philip DeFries. I'm going to go with Manny Gambarian over Omagawa and Ulysses Gomez. So that's the card. It actually looks like a pretty solid card. Some exciting fights. Machida, Shogun, Bader, Vera. Those are going to be some good fights. Davis will probably look impressive again. DeFries will look good. I think the card's actually pretty good, especially since it's free, so I can't hate on that. And then UFC 150, can't hate on that either. Looking pretty damn good. Some nice big names in there. A few mismatches, but it is what it is. MMA, it's important. Oh yeah, my Kid Twist battle's out, so check that out. I'll put a link up. And thanks to everybody who has been checking out my music, if you like it and all that stuff. MMA is important. Peace.